Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. It's Girl MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are hoping for the arrival of Michael Bullock. I don't know if we're going to get him tonight or not, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. Two bits of stories that's going to be coming out tonight. Basically, we're recapping AEW Collision first, and then we're going to be doing the WWE Summerslam that went down both last night, one on TNT, the other one on Peacock, and the WWE network all around the world. So, with that said, let's start off with AEW first. Get Collision out of the way. Started off with a tag team fight, tag team title match, as a matter of fact, as it was FTR versus Big Bill and Brian Cage, winners of the bout in 15:03, and still the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Um, FTR, solid opener, good matchup. It was about maybe I would say about a 3 star to 3.5 star fight. It was solid for what it was worth. The action was really good, and it was an enjoyable match to kick off. So Anthony Floyo, it is yours.
FTR continued their superb run as AEW World Tag Team Champions last night, defeating Brian Cage and Big Bill in a high-energy opener in which they absorbed the power and ferocity of the opposition and capitalized on a miscommunication to deliver the Shatter Machine for the win. The challengers continued to look like a powerhouse tandem right out of the 1980s, while FTR was less Midnight Express and more rockers, as they exploded back into the match with great babyface fire and had the crowd eating out of the palms of their hands. As high a note as the match started the show on, it was the post-match challenge to the Young Bucks by the champions for a match at All In at the historic Wembley Stadium. It is an enormous match with history to pull from and genuine interest from fans. It is a battle between two top teams with plenty of credibility based on their accomplishments and a showdown that instantly enhances that pay-per-view card. Brian Cage continuously paying tribute to his mentor, the late Chris Kanyon, with his "nobody better" catchphrase is always a nice touch. Kanyon, one of the great unsung talents of the last 25 years, and keeping his memory alive was a great move. Greenville, South Carolina, very much FTR country, greeting the tag champs with a thunderous ovation upon their entrance. Wheeler embraced his mother at ringside as well. The champions did a great job of putting over the size and strength advantage of their opponents. Cage and Bill have established some great tag team chemistry and are a throwback to teams like the Powers of Pain, who would easily bowl over smaller opponents. Wheeler's mom slapped the taste out of Bill, drawing a pop from both the fans and the commentary team. Big Bill was really animated here, feeding off the crowd's energy and taunting them. It was nice to see him let some of his personality show rather than being the one-dimensional big man, even if that is a role he fits quite well. And Cage's ability to deliver a somersault plancha from the ring to the floor, wiping out Harwood and Wheeler, will never stop being awe-inspiring, especially considering his size. 3.5, 3.75 of a star, second best fight of the night. So with that, MF, we go from one championship match to another.
Yes, it was. It was Mercedes Martinez going up against Chris Statlander for the TBS title, and is still the champion. Chris Statlander, she keeps the belt, winning it in 10 minutes and 15 seconds. But after the match, oh my goodness, Diamante shows up. Now, there was a little bit of a little tussle between Mercedes Martinez and Diamante, but this goes back to Ring of Honor. But then all of a sudden, they're working together to try to take out the champion. Well, thank God for Willow Nightingale, who showed up to make the save. But my goodness, Anthony Foyle, what makes of this?
Well, the match was good, physical, and Chris Statlander's babyface fire kept the fans invested. I know you want to know more about the post-match developments, and I will gladly advise on this. The post-match developments, including a heel turn from Diamante and apparently alignment with Mercedes Martinez as they beat down the champion, appeared to ensure the feud continued, while the arrival of Willow Nightingale hinted at a tag team bout. If Collision is destined to be the setting for fresh faces, character, and storytelling development, and extended in-ring action, then we're all for it. Martinez, Diamante, and Statlander are too good not to be on television, while any opportunity to see Willow Nightingale is a welcome one. Ian Riccaboni, arguably the most underrated announcer in the game, made a killer Oasis Wonderwall reference in regards to Statlander following up her successful first outing against Taya Valkyrie and trying to do even better against Martinez. Martinez really is great, and one day when we write the history of women's wrestling, she has earned recognition for her efforts to legitimize it as part of the independent scene and the upstart Shimmer promotion during the 2000s. Chris Statlander is a great fiery babyface. She out-wrestled Mercedes Martinez, rolling her up to score the hard-fought win. Diamante hit the ring after the bout, seemingly to make the save for Chris Statlander during a post-match beatdown, only to betray her and join Mercedes Martinez in her 2-on-1 assault. Willow Nightingale made the save, chasing the heels off as the Ring of Honor and AEW women's divisions cross steams. Tag team match will take place next Saturday night on Collision from the legendary Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. There you go, MF. We know how much that venue means to you, especially, and you'll get to see it in all its glory next Saturday night for the next Collision. So that's what we're going to get. It's going to be Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale squaring off against Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. That's got potential to be a really good match here, so looking forward to that. So this was about 3 1/4 for this effort. So there isn't much more to say on that. So MF tag team match Saturday night in one of your homes away from home, the Greensboro Coliseum.
Yeah, 3 stars. Like you said, it was a solid match. I think it was really good. So really nothing more to say there. And now we had Samoa Joe versus Serpentico. Joe wins the match in 16 seconds. Yeah. There's really nothing more to add there. So we're just going to leave that as it may.
However, there is one interesting thing that came out, and CM Punk issued a challenge, or I should say Samoa Joe issued a challenge to CM Punk for All In at Wembley.
Yeah. Wow. Not the avenue I would have thought, honestly, truthfully. But I mean, yeah, if we do Joe versus Punk again, I would not mind it. I don't, the first match was the last battle they had not too long ago during the Owen Hart tournament was pretty good. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I think it's going to be interesting to watch if they do decide to pull the trigger and do it again.
I'll say it like this, MF. If such a match is accepted by CM Punk, it would join that, FTR and the Young Bucks, not official, and Adam Cole versus MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship on what is quickly becoming a must-see card. And
not only that, but now you're hearing rumors about maybe Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega one more time. And if that's rumors, I'm not saying it's been confirmed yet, but that has hit the rumor mill recently. Yep, read into it what you will. But that's what I'm hearing. So we'll see if that happens. Oh boy. Next up we had was Action Andretti, Lee Johnson, and Darius Martin versus the House of Black. House of Black winning the match in 9 minutes and 10 seconds. It was a solid match. This was one of those trios fight that we all knew was going to be pretty good. Look, trios title on the line, and it was fine for what it was worth. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I thought it was like I said, 3-star bout, solid. Really nothing more to go. So Anthony, it's yours. And as a matter of fact, next week on also on Collision, there's also a trios title fight, House of Black versus FTR and CM Punk. That's been announced for Greensboro, North Carolina. So there's your main event for Greensboro next week, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony, it's yours.
I'll have my thought on that in a minute. The match was every bit as energetic as one would assume given the talent, particularly at the finish. The champions cut off one last attempt at a comeback to regain the gold, or I should say retain the gold, and set up a showdown with CM Punk and FTR, CMFTR, on next Saturday's show, as announced by Ia Riccaboni on commentary after the bout. Another impressive showing for a House of Black, finally building momentum. This perfectly set the stage for what will be a dream match of sorts between two of the most prominent and high-powered trios in all of AEW on next week's show. The babyfaces chose as their handpicked stipulation for Julia Hart to be barred from ringside. It did not help matters as the champions remained relentless and dominant through the commercial break. It was nice to see Lee Johnson back on television in a fairly high-profile spot. The House of Black will remain over with fans as long as Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews are able to rock an opponent with a single knee strike, and Brody King is able to throw his body at them to secure the win. The sudden impact of both makes for a hell of an exclamation point on the end of a dominant win. Another 3 to 3.25 star effort here. And MF, I'm already going on the record. House of Black, I hope you enjoyed that title run because I think CMFTR is going to walk out with the belts. I got this feeling.
I don't think so. I disagree. Okay. Because I think it's going to be the Elite. The Elite's going to show up and cost CM Punk. Trust me. There's enough ammunition and there's enough fire that if you play this right, you kind of. Why is FTR calling out the Bucks? Why are you poking that bear?
Yeah, that's right.
That's going to be a mistake and that's going to cost them. So they issued the challenge. I think Bucks show up, challenge accepted, and they're gonna deny CMFTR the trio's title. So nope, I disagree. I think because and plus on top of that, Punk's already got a world title. FTR has the tag belts.
Oh yeah.
Why are you going to strap more gold on these guys? They don't need it.
They don't. You're right.
And plus with the momentum if you want to give momentum to House of Black, why are you going to feed them to those guys and have them lose? Then you would do absolutely this major disservice if that happens.
Well, we'll see what happens.
So that's all I'm just going to say on that. So now we got Malachi versus Jay White. Jay White winning the match in 5-10. It was an all right match. It was still a good battle. You can call a fun little sprint if you want to. Anthony, it's yours. So 5-10.
By default, the worst fight of the night, even though it was a 2.5 star effort. And by the way, it's a Metalik, as in Grand Metalik.
Grand Metalik, yeah.
Jay White returned to Collision last night, defeating Metalik in a match that served as little more than a means of heating Switchblade back up, following that epic tag team title match loss to FTR in that match that we're already on the record of calling our match of the year at this point. Wouldn't surprise me if we call that our match of the year at the end of the year. But no longer burdened by the Lucha House Party nonsense from his previous promotion, Metalik was able to showcase some of his skills. But ultimately, Jay White put him down with the Blade Runner and got both he and Bullet Club Gold back on track. The faction remains one of the centerpieces of the Collision brand, and it'll be interesting to see which direction Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Guns head as All In and All Out approach. As of now, it is not readily apparent. The Guns joined Ian Riccaboni and Nigel McGuinness on commentary. Ian Riccaboni recalled the history between the competitors, including their time spent living together in Japan. He is a wealth of knowledge, and little tidbits like that add to the overall viewing experience. And then a funny commentary moment. Austin Gunn asked, "How do you know that? You're a nerd. Wasn't Metalik a band in the 80s? What song did they sing? For Whom the Bell Tolls?" Colton responded in a fun bit. And Juice Robinson toning around the Jay White cardboard cutout is hilarious. Yeah. Imagine if one of MF's relatives or one of his friends gave him a Jay White cardboard cutout for his birthday or Christmas. MF would tear that thing would shred that sucker to pieces. He'd be like, hell no. Get that out of my house. So every time I see that Jay White cardboard cutout, I'd be like, hey, MF, look, it's your boy. He's like, yeah, right. and we would have some funny commentary moments, probably throwing a "Will you stop" or a "Will you be serious" on top of that. So I love that cutout, man. I mean, if we were doing comment, and you already know, we did commentary and we pulled something like that, MF would, he would go full gorilla on that one. But nonetheless, in all seriousness, 2.5-star match. So MF, let's quickly get the Phenom Michael Bullock caught up on our Collision review so far. It's only we've only done Collision, Bullock. We're doing SummerSlam after. So MF, whenever you're ready.
All right. There's a little bit of some stuff we got to backtrack here. So Mike Bullock, welcome. Let's start off with we started off with FTR. FTR putting the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line against Big Bill and Brian Cage. FTR winning the match in 15:03.
Yeah, I thought this was a good match here. I'll give this about maybe 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, this was a fun match here. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt here. I mean, you knew FTR was going to retain, so nothing more to say.
All right. Next up, we had was Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Martinez, TBS title on the line, and Chris Statlander winning the match in 10 minutes and 15 seconds.
3 stars on this one. This was, without a doubt, the toughest challenge up to this point for Chris Statlander, and she took out a very good opponent in Mercedes Martinez. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on to the next part. Samoa Joe versus Serpentico. Samoa Joe wins in 16 seconds. That's an automatic dud. Then right after that was the trios tag team fight, as it was the House of Black versus Action Andretti, Lee Johnson, and Darius Martin, and it was House of Black winning the match in 9 minutes and 10 seconds.
Another 3-star match here. I mean, you knew that they were going to go over here, and yeah, I mean, next week's trio title match with the House of Black against CMFTR, and yeah, I'm with Fletch here. I mean, obviously with the Young Bucks challenging FTR, you know the Young Bucks are going to screw CMFTR, and plus, like Florio said, I mean, Punk's got the Real World's title. FTR's got the AEW World Tag Team titles. Do they really need more gold? I don't think so. But then again, I mean, let's not forget one time, Fletch. FTR had a lot of gold on their hands with the, I think it was the Ring of Honor tag team titles, the AAA tag team titles. I think there was one other. If I'm
the IWGP World Tag Team titles.
Yeah, so I mean, so they have held multiple belts before. So, I mean, would I be surprised if CMFTR goes over? I wouldn't be surprised, but I do seeing the House of Black going over because of the whole thing with the Young Bucks.
All right. Next up we had was Metalik versus Jay White. Jay White wins in 5:10.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe 1.5 to 2 on this one. I mean, it was another one of the worst fights of the night, so there's really nothing more to say on it.
All right, and the main event, it was CM Punk versus Ricky Starks for the Real World Championship, as that's what CM Punk alluded to. Winner of the bout, 22 minutes and 20 seconds. Still the champion, CM Punk. Michael Bullock, you lead off.
Yeah, this to me was the fight of the night here. I'll give this about maybe 4.25 on this one. I mean, what a match here. I mean, you knew this had to be good, especially with the two are in there. And yeah, CM Punk somehow beat Ricky Starks, but then after the match, I mean, Ricky Starks went ballistic and not only attacked CM Punk, but he did, I gotta say, Fletch, one of the most disrespectful and disgusting things I've ever seen, where he went after one of the all-time greats in Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who was the guest referee. And he literally took the belt and basically whipped him. I mean, I'm going to say it, Fletch. I've lost so much respect for Ricky Starks. I mean, Ricky the Dragon didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he did his job. I mean, obviously frustration took over, but I mean, if you want to take it out on CM Punk, that's all fine and dandy. But you do it to a man who, if it were, I mean, for someone like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, a legend, and I'm going to say it to you, Ricky Starks, if it weren't for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, you wouldn't even be in this business right now. You wouldn't. And for you to whip him like he was a piece of garbage, you, sir, are an absolute disgrace to the business of not only AEW but professional wrestling in general. Period. End of statement. End of quotation. End of statement. Fight of the night here, Fletch. It is yours.
I can't disagree with what Michael Bullock just said. I mean, but the thing is, if you were gonna generate nuclear heat for Ricky Starks, this had to happen. So, you can say, "Oh yeah."
I'll say it like this, Fletch. I meant what I meant. I mean, to build heat on him. I mean, this was a good move, but personally, I mean,
obviously you gotta obviously this is that respect your elders type moment and everything else, and I get it, and the whole 9 yards. But in the classic case of professional wrestling, of garnering heat, garnering the ire of the fans, this is textbook 101. This is exactly what you're gonna see, and this is exactly what you wanted. Now, does for something like that to happen, yeah, it is a heinous attack. I'm not defending it. Like I am very upset, like you guys were. At the end, it was the fight of the night, 4.25 stars. That was horrible what went down. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and what you said, Michael Bullock. I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with anything you said. It was valid, absolutely valid. So nothing more to say, Anthony. It's yours.
Fight of the night here, no doubt about it. CM Punk retained the so-called real world championship in the main event of last night's Collision, defeating Ricky Starks in a pay-per-view quality bout that saw guest enforcer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat preventing the challenger from cheating. The match was further evidence that Starks is a genuine main event guy, not just of the future, but of the here and now. He has repeatedly proven an ability to hang with top stars across AEW, and this one was no different. The timing was good. He was where he needed to be at every turn. The post-match assault of Steamboat earned him legitimate heel heat and turned the crowd completely in Punk's favor, the first time that happened all night. The actions of Ricky Starks suggest the feud with CM Punk will continue in some form or fashion, and that is hardly a bad thing, especially as Tony Khan and company position him as one of the faces of this new Saturday night brand. You thought it couldn't get any better than Ricky Steamboat? Well, how about this, guys? JR, anyone? Jim Ross? Jim Ross joined Ian Riccaboni and Nigel McGuinness on commentary, while Ricky the Dragon Steamboat entered the arena to serve as the enforcer for last night's main event. Ricky Starks has taken the opportunity that comes with the increased television time he has enjoyed on Collision and run with it. He looks and feels every bit like the main eventer many have believed he could be. With Ricky Steamboat as the enforcer, you knew there would be a referee bump that necessitated his involvement. He prevented Ricky Starks from cheating, setting up a roll-up victory for CM Punk. The post-match attack of Steamboat by Starks put him over as a sore loser and legitimate heel, after weeks of fans resisting the turn. And of course, you know me being the old school professional wrestling historian that I've been and always will be. And I 100% agree with everything Michael Bullock had to say. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, a Hall of Famer, inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009. And as the co-headliner, of course, we all know that was Stone Cold who headlined that whole thing, and rightfully so. But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, one of the all-time greats, one of my all-time personal favorites. Of course, Bullock, you know, we've always done, you know, one of our many running gags. You know, I've always considered you the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to my Ric Flair. You know, because it was the Flair Steamboat matches in '89 that really, you know, that really did it for us. And of course, those three epic bouts, that trilogy, still talked about to this day, as they should be. Hello. All three matches, you have to go out of your way to see at least once, even if it's only once. Go out of your way to see all three of those matches. I've seen all three of those matches millions of times, and I never get tired of watching them back because they're hella fun. But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, a man who, like Michael Bullock said, has paved the way for young bloods like Ricky Starks and so many other youngins in this business today. And for him to do what he did, you know, it made me absolutely sick to my stomach. And you know, I know I'm usually the heel commentator, but this is one of the rare times where, as a heel commentator, I would actually, you know, show some human decency here. Because, you know, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, like I said, an all-time great NWA heavyweight champion. He had the big gold belt, you know, in that trilogy with Ric Flair. A U.S. champion, of course, you know, Intercontinental heavyweight champion, of course. The match with Macho Man Randy Savage, WrestleMania 3, still held in high regard to this day as well. Duh, of course. And another match that you need to go out of your way to watch at least once. Although I can say I've watched that match a gazillion times as well. I think all of us have. And of course, just one of the all-around great guys of this business. You know, if you were to look up to a professional wrestler as a hero figure, this is the guy right here. So honorable, you know, never takes a shortcut, always does the right thing. And that's what the three of us, you know, that's what we preach about. We thrive on that. So, and that's why we're who we are today. He's one of the many reasons why. So, he's a tough hombre. That's all there is to say on that. So, great to see him. And not his first experience with refereeing, because, you know, he refereed some CM Punk matches in Ring of Honor. MF could tell you that. I remember when NWA TNA was starting out. He was the guest referee when they crowned the very first NWA TNA heavyweight champion, which ended up being the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock, when he won that very unique battle royale. And then, of course, he also was also the referee when they crowned the first ever X Division champion. I think you've heard of this guy, the phenomenal AJ Styles. So, been there, done that. That's all there is to say. He's got great refereeing experience, and seeing him conjured up all those memories. And what a special moment with him and Jim Ross. I mean, if that didn't tug at the heartstrings, I don't know what will. So that was a fun moment, and I got a little choked up myself. So, but nonetheless, 4 to 4 1/4 stars, fight of the night, no doubt about it. Great to see the Dragon. That ending was very disgusting. 100% agree. So, nothing more to say. MF, let's get into our overall review here.
7.5 out of 10 for me. I thought it was a solid show. Really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, go.
All right, last night's collision from the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, Greenville, South Carolina, Horseman Country. And MF is right. Well, actually, I'm actually going to go a little bit higher on this one. I'm going to give it about 8 out of 10 for this. Collision is still growing and evolving, but it is developing into one of the best wrestling shows on television. It takes the in-ring action seriously, builds feuds logically, and does not overthink them or get too cute with their execution. CM Punk, FTR, Bullet Club Gold, and Ricky Starks are the clear centerpieces of the show, while House of Black has carved out a nice spot for themselves on the show as well. In between the matches involving those stars, we saw some really great stuff out of Christian Cage, who sent his daughter packing after she dared ask to hold his TNT championship, and Toni Storm, whose women's title loss has her questioning what her purpose is. The overarching story of CM Punk having so many different rivals and competitors gunning for him, be it Ricky Starks, Samoa Joe, or the House of Black, is a quality creative tool that acknowledges that he is the featured star, but also elevates everyone else he shares the screen with. This is a more focused watch than Dynamite has been over the last year or two, with better pacing and tighter production. Last night's show was just another in a string of excellent episodes from a company who may have found its groove on Saturday nights, at least creatively. 8 out of 10, Michael Bullock, take it home, and then we will review the biggest party of the summer, the 36th annual Summerslam.
Yeah, 7.5 to. I'm gonna go 7.5 to 8 on this one. I mean, I thought it was a good show. I mean, yeah, I mean, all the matches were solid to really good. I mean, you only had a couple of bad matches here that really took it down just a little bit, but all in all, I enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, Collision's still starting to grow with some people, but all in all, I thought this was another really good show. So, with that being said, Fletch, let's get on to last night's SummerSlam.
From Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, as we had 59,194, but there was a report that came out today that's saying that the actual attendance could be 51,477. This is coming from WrestleTix.com. They're reporting it, but whatever the case, it's over 50,000 plus for SummerSlam. That is a major props to WWE if they were able to get 50,000 in Ford Field. I mean, that's a heck of a performance there. So, started off with Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Logan Paul winning the match in 18 minutes. Look, fun match, good battle. I give this about 3.5 stars to start it off. Yeah, the ending was predictable with Logan Paul winning, but the guys really put it out there. Ricochet having one of his better performances. Logan Paul once again proven, yes, he's a celebrity, but he takes this for real. He takes this stuff seriously. So props to him for winning it. And yeah, nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
With all due respect, I think you underscored it a little bit. I'm giving this about 4 to 4.25. Logan Paul has made a habit of exceeding expectations in the ring, and this performance was no exception. Pairing him with someone like Ricochet was brilliant booking because he is the kind of talent who knows how to take care of the social media star during the riskier spots. They were given a lot of time and packed in plenty of memorable spots while still telling a story along the way. This was the best case scenario for this bout. One of Logan Paul's buddies slipped him some brass knucks, and he nailed Ricochet with a huge right hand to steal the win. The outcome may have been cheap, but everything else worked. The way Logan Paul reacted when Ricochet faked him out with a dive was great. Logan Paul made good use of some fundamentals and basic moves during this match to show he has been learning and not just focusing on big spots. The Spanish fly spot from the apron was cool, but they almost didn't land it. And Paul got ridiculous height on his springboard frog splash. 4 to 4.25 stars. Excellent start to the show. Of course, there was a reason why this match was the opener, and that was, of course, last night. Logan Paul's brother, Jake Paul, was in a boxing match against Nate Diaz in Dallas. And he obviously wanted to be there for that. So that's why he went on first. So, but then again, perfect jump off here. You always want to give the fans, a high flying spot fest to start the show. And these boys put on a hell of a show last night in this one. So 4 to 4.25 stars on that. So, and by the way, I believe I had this one, gentlemen. I believe you both went with Ricochet to win this match the other night, but lo and behold, Logan Paul got the win here, and I had a feeling he was due a win here. So not much more to say on that. So Michael Bullock, Logan Paul defeating Ricochet in an even 18 minutes.
Yeah, 4 stars for me. I mean, this was definitely a really good jump off to SummerSlam. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is the way you want to get the fans all excited, all hyped up for it. I mean, the action was really good. Yes, the ending probably was a little cheap because of Logan Paul using the brass knucks, but all in all, I mean, this was still a good match and probably one of Ricochet's best pay-per-view matches that he's had. And did you see after Logan Paul got the pinfall? I think Samantha Irvin was so hesitant to announce Logan Paul as the winner, because we all know that's Ricochet's wife or fiance, whatever you want to call it, but
Beyonce.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, seeing her fiance loss was it was like a bitter taste. I mean, you talk about a bad week for Samantha Irvin. First she gets brought into this whole thing by Logan Paul, and then now this. I'm sure, Fletch, this is a week Samantha Irvin's probably going to want to forget. I mean,
yeah. And you heard Logan too trying to entice her to say the announcement again. He's like, it felt so nice. I need to hear it twice. Please say it again. Say it one more time. So you like, he was really egging her on big time, more than anything else.
I'm sure there was a part of her that wanted to go up on that apron and slap the taste out of that arrogant prick. But come on, people, this is Logan Paul we're talking about here. I mean, yeah. So I guess when you're a star like he is, I guess you can be as arrogant as you want, even though all three of us can't stand the douchebag. But
thing is,
look. His wrestling I'll say has been really good, but it's his arrogance that really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, well, some people actually likes it. Some people likes an arrogant prick. I mean, that sometimes that's what it is. We may be like we may not stand the ground and everything else, but nowadays, man, I could care less about niceness or decency anymore. It feels like, with everything that's been so negative in the world, man, it rubs people in certain ways. So
I know Florio can't stand the guy either.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely not.
But hey, the thing is, if you can present it and you got it and you can handle it, hey, by all means, man, more power to you. So no.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next match on the card.
Next up, we have was Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Cody Rhodes winning the match, 17 minutes and 35 seconds. 3 crossroads to put away the beast. Anthony Florio, like he said, he talks about rewriting the ending. Well, he just passed a major hurdle by knocking off Brock Lesnar. One part down. We all know what the next part is going to be.
Wow. Another 4 to 4 1/4 star match. From a storytelling standpoint, this was the best encounter these two have had. They told a story and gave us a fun bout along the way. The use of the stairs was confusing, but it's not enough to ruin the whole match. The crowd cheered louder every time Cody beat the count back into the ring. He ended up using the steel steps as a weapon, and the ref didn't disqualify him for some odd reason. maybe he was being a little lenient there. Raw senior referee Chad Patton, who was the referee for that match. Brock Lesnar always seems to have an early match if he's not in the main event. The pyro setup for Cody's entrance felt smaller than usual. There was a moment when Lesnar picked up Cody and just threw him over his shoulder like it was nothing. Cody made a big show out of getting to his feet after almost getting counted out. And Brock Lesnar shaking Cody's hand and hugging him before raising his hand was a great way to end this. A lot has been made about this, and hey, a lot of people think with this endorsement by Brock Lesnar that it's positioned Cody now as a legitimate top guy now. I mean, for right now, you would have to consider this outside of him winning the Royal Rumble in January of this year. You have to consider this the biggest win of Cody Rhodes' career so far. Even though he already beat Brock Lesnar at Backlash, but that was more of a lucky fluke win. Not really a resounding win. But this is without a doubt. I mean, no disrespect to Seth freaking Rollins. I mean, Seth freaking Rollins, we know what he's done. He's done everything there is to do. You know, he's a Grand Slammer. He's won all the Grand Slam championships, a Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank. Brock Lesnar can almost certainly say almost the same thing. But thing is, he was never. He's only been, the WWE or Universal Champion for Brock Lesnar. Of course, 2 Royal Rumble wins and a Money in the Bank of his own. But when you think about the body of work of Brock Lesnar and how dominant he has been over the last, 20 plus years, I consider this the biggest Cody's biggest win in his entire WWE career, even going back to his first run in WWE. This is the biggest win for now. This is the biggest win for Cody's career right now. Unless they set him up for an even bigger win, which I'm praying they do. Because I want to see him go all the way. I want to see him, become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Should have happened at this year's WrestleMania, but that's another story. But, it is what it is. But I still believe he's going to get that big moment. And it probably won't be until WrestleMania 40 that happens. But for right now, he's one step closer to finishing the story. And now he can put the beast in the rearview mirror. And now him and Brock Lesnar. I mean, I love that moment. Great commentary moment with, if we were doing it, almost all of the WrestleMania 19 with Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. Only difference is there was no cheap shot involved. MF would say, wow. And he would say, I am damn sure glad to see that. And then we would all stand and give him a standing ovation because that was a hell of a match. And they saved the best for last, as they all say. So there isn't much more to say on this. Another 4 to 4.25 star match here. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, without a doubt, for me anyways, the biggest win of Cody Rhodes' entire WWE career to date. Maybe they could be setting him up for an even bigger win down the line. But make no mistake about it, Michael Bullock, there is, with this win last night, Cody Rhodes is now one step closer, maybe, hopefully, to finally finishing the story.
Yeah, we can only hope that this is now like him being one step closer to finally finishing the story that he should have finished at WrestleMania, but as you said, Fleur, a story for another day. But definitely the biggest win for for Cody Rhodes since returning to WWE. I mean, no disrespect to Seth Rollins, but when you beat a caliber guy like Brock Lesnar, that is definitely something there. I mean, yes, he beat him at Backlash, but that was a cheap win. But there was nothing cheap about this victory here. So, and major respect between these two. So, and you got to wonder, I mean, is this going to be a face turn for Brock Lesnar? So, could be, but we'll wait and see. So, this rivalry is now over. Now it's on to bigger and better things for these two. So, we'll see what happens. So, nothing more to say. It is yours, Fletch.
I've actually heard some rumors that this could be it for Brock Lesnar. That he might be done with WWE and actually done with professional wrestling altogether.
So
There's been
actually,
some.
Fletch, I heard another rumor that he may retire after not next year's WrestleMania, but the following year's WrestleMania, because I heard rumors that it could be in Minnesota.
Well, there is rumors
I mean,
about it. No, there is rumors.
It's only a rumor.
There's rumors.
It's
They
only
said that
WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 41.
Yep, they're saying that
US Bank Stadium.
They're saying that Minneapolis is right now front runner. I'm not saying that it can or cannot. There was hints about that happening. They were talking about also maybe even London because of the John Cena push and everything else. Triple H kind of dismissed it about it and said, "Yeah, I think Cena was, just saying it just because he was saying it just to say it. But there is hints about it too. So we know 40 is definitely Philadelphia. 41 right now, Minneapolis is in the lead. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a done deal. So obviously, yes, I've heard rumors about Minneapolis being front runner, but
take it with a grain of salt and read into it what you will.
Because I've also heard Atlanta is in the mix. I heard they want to put it at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And as a matter of fact, I even heard that New Orleans is trying to get back in and try to get another WrestleMania at the Superdome. So we'll wait and see. There's at least 3 or 4 cities right now that are definitely in it, but Minneapolis is the front runner as of right now. So we'll see. Next up was the Slim Jim 25-man Battle Royale, SummerSlam Battle Royale. When it was all said and done, winner of the bout, 11 minutes and 55 seconds. Well, I guess I'll say it. LA
Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. He won it. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, these battle royals, as I said before, I mean, we've said it many times before. It's tough to rate them, but I'll give this about maybe 3 stars on this one. But yeah, the outcome was never in doubt. I mean, I knew that with the push that LA Knight was getting, you knew that he was gonna. They had to put him over. They had to have him win this one, and this was no doubt about it. And yeah, so now the thing is, what's next for LA Knight? So we'll have to wait and see on it. But all I can say is this was definitely a big win for him. It could lead to hopefully for something bigger. So there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. Let's just say, let me give it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, big win for LA Knight. Did you hear the pop he got when he came out? When that music hit? Oh my God, man!
What did you say there, Monsoon? What did you say there?
I couldn't hear myself think. I couldn't
listen to this place go crazy.
Yeah. So once again, LA Knight proving why he is one of the most over guys in WWE today, and one of the big stars right now. And you know what? The thing is, too, he's SmackDown Live, too. He's not Monday Night Raw. He's not NXT. He is SmackDown Blue. And I'm so glad to have this guy on my show because he's one of the reasons why SmackDown today has been averaging 3 million people each and every freaking week. So that's why they are where they are. And LA Knight is a star, and the fans are over. If you want to know what's next for him, you want to know where what's next for LA Knight, it's gonna be United States Heavyweight Championship or bust for LA Knight. More than anything else, maybe the world title, but I don't think they see that far ahead. But right now, LA Knight, dude, what he's been doing, he's carving everybody up, and he's doing it with class and with style. and with the only thing that he's been, the fans love him. He's the most over guy on the internet. Do you know how many people went nuts that he won that match? They were so happy he won it. So, I mean, there's really nothing more to add. This was about 2.5 to 3, and Anthony, it's yours.
I'm more with Bullock on this. 3 to 3.25 for me. We saw a few different feuds addressed with specific eliminations, including Santos Escobar and Austin Theory, who will battle for the United States Heavyweight Championship this Friday night on SmackDown at the legendary Saddle Dome in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Several people teamed up to finally take Omos out of the match and got a huge pop from the crowd in the process. The final 4 men were Sheamus, Bronson Reed, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. Karrion Kross eliminated Styles from outside the ring, and after an entertaining final sequence, LA Knight threw out the Celtic Warrior to win it. This was an above-average battle royale, especially in the final 5 to 10 minutes. LA Knight winning was the right call, especially judging from the crowd's response. The short video package about battle royals before the bout was a nice touch. WWE packed a lot of people into the ring and looked like more than 20 when it started. And Tommaso Ciampa had a nice run of eliminations before Bronson Reed took him out. Then again, you could also say the same thing about Omos. He had a dominant run as well. Yeah, I believe he had like 5 eliminations, and Ciampa had a few here and there. So, but nonetheless, the right guy won. LA Knight, and well, hopefully it's on to bigger and better things for the megastar here. So there isn't much more to say here. Biggest win for LA Knight yet, and hopefully it will lead to some much bigger wins down the road. Yeah. So there's not much more to say here. So MF, let's move on to our next match.
MMA fight match. It was Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey. Shayna Baszler by TKO, thanks to the Karafuda clutch, as she made Ronda Rousey pass out. So it was a technical submission win for Shayna Baszler. All right, I've heard a lot of people slamming about this fight. This was bad, man. I'm not even defending it. Worst fight of the night. Look, the rules was so weird, and I think that's why a lot of people didn't get it. And for me, traditionally MMA fights, that what I saw is not traditional MMA. Like, you don't have rope breaks. There are no rope breaks in the match. If you're caught in that, you gotta fight out of that. For you to leave the ring is also illegal. You're not supposed to. So they really kind of took a piss on the MMA rules. And for me, who's very diehard MMA, I was not happy with this match more than anything else, because it kind of left a bitter taste in the mouth. I'm sorry, I thought they did good with it, but they did a lot of bad with this as well. So worst fight of the night by default. Maybe 1.5, and that's it. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, I think you're being a little too generous on this one. This was an absolute dud for me. I'm sorry. This was the worst fight of the night. I 100% agree with you. While this was billed as more of an MMA fight than a wrestling match, it had more of a pro wrestling feel to it. They were still talking trash, taunting the crowd, and selling like they would in any other bout. The crowd didn't seem to care too much about this match until close to the end. After locking in the Kirifuda clutch, Baszler scored a technical submission when Ronda passed out. I mean, this match would have been a lot better with a fresh crowd. Shayna Baszler just got the biggest win of her career, and let's hope WWE capitalizes on it. That's the only positive that came out of this. And the crowd did not seem very excited during their entrances, which was a little surprising, but, whatevs. But 1.5, that's a little generous. To me, this was an absolute dud. This was the worst fight of the night by a mile. And like I said, the only good thing that came out of this was that Shayna Baszler won this match, and it is without a doubt the biggest win of her career. And when it comes to WWE, outside of her dominant reign as NXT Women's Champion, and I'm hopeful that this will be the beginning of bigger and better things for the Submission Magician. Long underrated, long underutilized, criminally underutilized. So I'm hopeful this will be the start of bigger and better things for her. So, absolute dud, worst fight of the night. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Florida on this one. I'm sorry, Fletch. That 1.5 you gave, that was being way too generous on this one. This was a DUD dud. It was the worst fight of the night. The crowd didn't give two craps about this match. I certainly didn't give two hoots about it. I mean, I was excited at first, but when I saw this unfolded, I'm like, really? This is all you got? This is what you got here? No, I didn't give two shits about this one. It just, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on it. It's yours, Fletch. And the crowd had every right to piss all over this one.
All right. Next up, we had was the Intercontinental title fight, as it was Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. Gunther winning the match in 13 minutes and 40 seconds, and thus, with this win, opens the door for Gunther to now become the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time. Anthony, Honky's record is good as gone now. It's going to be Gunther's to hold.
I want to say that, MF, but here's the thing, though. When the next pay-per-view comes around, which is Payback, next month, Labor Day weekend, he'll be within striking distance of it. He's got to get past Payback, and you never know what they could do on Monday Night Raw. You never know. They could possibly throw out a random Intercontinental match at any time. Think about that. I mean, there's a possibility. You never know. WWE could say, you know what? Let's have him defend the Intercontinental Championship tonight on a Monday Night Raw, which could possibly happen. Anything can happen at any given time. And we have to see what happens based on backstage interactions and all that good stuff. So keep an eye on Raw over the next month or so. But there is one more pay-per-view before he can have Honky's record, and he's got to get past Payback. He gets past Payback, then I'll start feeling more confident about it. I mean, it would be a great story if he does it. I would love to see it happen.
But he's already going to surpass Pedro Morales.
Yes, he surpassed Pedro Morales. Well, actually, no. He will pass him this week, provided he gets past Raw tomorrow night. But we have to keep an eye on Raw tomorrow night. So he gets past Raw tomorrow night, then he will surpass Pedro Morales for number 2 all time. Pedro's run was 424 days. He already surpassed Macho Man. He did that last week. So Macho had it for 414 days. Honky was 453. So he just has to get past all these Raws. He also has to get past Payback as well. And if he does that, then he's got it. So we'll wait and see what happens. But all right. For the Reign General, there was more on the line than just his Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. He was also fighting to keep his near record-breaking reign alive until he surpasses the Honky Tonk Man. It took him a while, but once they started throwing chops, they were swinging for the fences. You could hear the impact of each hit and almost feel the welt forming on Drew McIntyre's chest. These are two guys who pride themselves on their physicality, so this was an aggressive fight from start to finish. Both worked hard and got the crowd to wake up a bit. Gunther kicked out of the Claymore, and once he recovered, he hit Drew McIntyre with a few big moves, followed by a powerbomb for a clean win to retain the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. McIntyre's entrance felt incomplete without his usual pyro. The Scotsman's chest was turning red almost immediately after the first chop, and Gunther is so great at adding little facial expressions between moves, he makes you believe in his character's motivations. Not quite the overwhelming banger we thought it was going to be, but it was still very good nonetheless. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star for this. So there isn't much more to say here. Michael Bullock, Gunther takes one step closer to as he continues his quest to surpass the Honky Tonk Man. He still has he's almost there, but he still has a little bit of a ways to go.
Yeah, he's one step closer to getting past the Honky Tonk Man's all-time record. But like you said, you still got some Monday Night Raws. You still got Payback that he's got to go through before he can finally eclipse it. But we'll see what happens during that time. But like you said, not the banger that we thought it was going to be, but it was still a damn good match. 3.5, 3.75 of a star. I mean, it was slow to start, but as the match progressed, it really picked up, especially when they really started to lay those chops on one another. And yeah, both of their chests were turning really beet red here. And yeah, big win for Gunther. And now the thing is, what's next for Drew McIntyre? We'll have to wait and see. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, we'll wait and see, but it's gonna be incredible. It was a good fight, I'll say that. I mean, uh, 3.75 to close to 4 is my rating. Really nothing more to add. Next up, we had was the battle for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn Balor. Winner of the bout, 18 minutes and 30 seconds. Still the World Heavyweight Champion.
Come on, Bullock.
I'll let you start it off.
Go ahead, Florio.
Seth freaking Rollins.
Whoa! I didn't think we'd be doing that.
I didn't think so either. Go ahead, MF.
Well, it did indeed happen. So he successfully defends the title in 1830, and I believe it go. Who leads off on this?
I think it's me because you just finished off on the Gunther Drew McIntyre match, and Florio started it off.
All right, so it's yours.
Yeah, a lot of craziness during this, especially with the appearance of the Judgment Day, and of course the whole Money in the Bank coming into play. I mean, it was still a really good match here. I will give this about maybe 3.5 to 3.75 on this one. I mean, yeah, I thought that this was going to be the time that they put the title on Finn Balor, but no, they keep it on Seth Rollins, which I'm happy about it. But of course, even with this victory, we still got to keep an eye on Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. When will he cash in on it? But we'll have to wait and see. But I got this feeling this war is far from over between these two. I don't know why. I just got this feeling. But anywho, nothing more to say. Seth freaking Rollins is still the champion, and I'm laughing about it. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, there's major problems now in Judgment Day. You saw the explosion right before our very eyes. Balor absolutely pissed. Damian Priest felt like he had an opportunity to cash in Money in the Bank. This is what they were dreading. The two alphas thinking that they could get the opportunity at the belt. Are we about to see the implosion of are we on the verge of the implosion of Judgment Day right before our very eyes? I mean, it's very possible. Dom and Rhea might walk out and say, you know what, screw this. We don't want any of this BS anymore. And they're at that point where they're getting sick and tired of this, where Balor and Priest are both want to be the champion. And Rollins overcomes the odds, doing the impossible and successfully defending the championship yet again. So big win for him. And yeah, Seth Rollins still the world heavyweight champion in a 3.5 to 4-star bout. Anthony, it's yours.
4.25 stars for me. Excellent match. I don't know what else there is for me to say on this. I mean, the pace was methodical for the first few minutes. They treated this more like a marathon than a sprint. If these men were 10 years younger, this would have been a spot fest. This time, they focused more on the story and using their history to their advantage. They did an excellent job of using the callbacks to add to the drama. And all of this was done well and planted the seeds for a potential Judgment Day breakup. The video packages WWE made for this event were all outstanding, but the one for this match was especially good. Seth Rollins wore the same ring vest he wore for his Universal title match against Finn Balor at SummerSlam 7 years ago. And Finn Balor hit Seth Rollins with the same move that dislocated his own shoulder 7 years ago, that buckle bomb into the barricade, which caused Finn Balor to relinquish the Universal title the night after SummerSlam on Raw in 16. But nonetheless, fantastic match. I think this is the best match they've ever had, honestly. So 4.25 stars for me. And yeah, I'm right there with Bullock. Seth freaking Rollins, baby. Still the man, still the frontline soldier of Monday Night Raw. Big question now, MF, is who's next for Seth freaking Rollins? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Balor's going to make an argument that he deserves one more shot at this because of the fact that, he got screwed out of it. Is this the moment where Damian Priest cashes in Money in the Bank and go after Rollins on his own? So, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be crazy more than anything else. So, we'll see. Next up we had was the women's title match, the WWE women's title on the line, as it was the champion Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair. Winner of the bout, 20 minutes, 45 seconds, and new WWE Women's Champion Bianca Belair. However, hold, it was short-lived. Io Sky cashes in Money in the Bank. She goes after Bianca Belair, which was the right move. Bianca blew out her knee during the match, suffered a genuine knee injury, and it led to Io cashing in, and Io Sky wins the title. She is the new WWE Women's Champion. Unbelievable scene in Detroit last night. Anthony Florio, unprecedented crowning. History made not once but twice. Bianca Belair winning the title, and then Io Sky cashing in Money in the Bank and wins it all.
Man, oh man. What a moment. What a moment indeed. And wow. All right. Just gotta, regroup here after this awesome moment. Okay. This played out like most triple threat matches. They would take someone out of the equation for a while so two could pair up, and then they would have a short sequence with all three before they cycled someone else out for a bit. All three competitors did a good job, and the chemistry they have built up with each other was apparent with each combination of opponents. Nobody seemed to have a clear advantage, so it felt like anyone could win at any point. Belair hit the steel steps with her knee after being dropped out of the ring. Medics attended to her and eventually started helping her to the back, while the Empress of Tomorrow and the Queen kept fighting. The EST of WWE limped her way back to the ring to break up a figure 8 from Charlotte with a 450 splash that almost won her the title. The Queen put Belair in the figure 8, but Asuka with the mist in the face to break that up. EST rolled up Asuka for the win to become the new women's champion. But Io Sky and Bayley ran down and attacked everyone. Io cashed in and hit a moonsault to get the pin and win the title. The new champion celebrated with Bayley as the crowd cheered her on. Dakota Kai came into the ring to celebrate and pose with Damage Control, who debuted at SummerSlam last year. This was all done in a great way and really brought the crowd back up. Belair's backflip over Charlotte looked awesome. Whatever Asuka tried to hit from the top rope after the Queen hit a moonsault, it didn't work. They had a few creative near falls with all three women. Charlotte teased a double figure eight that would have been physically impossible. But 4.25 to 4.5. This was an incredible match. Great match. I know a lot of people have been slamming it, but I'm not most people. We're not most people. So say what you want about it. If you liked it, great. If you didn't, well, you can't please everybody. But yes, it was rough in some points, but the ending, really did it. And congratulations to Io Sky. Well deserved. And hopefully they give her a decent run with it. And when she held that NXT Women's Championship, she held it for a little over 300 days. So I don't know if she'll get that much of a run with it, but as long as she gets a decent run out of it, I'm good with it. So we'll see what happens. And business now damn sure picks up. And I mentioned this to Bullock during our Bullock and I had a little interaction in our messenger chat. The question is, what is Bianca's injury legit, or was that a work? I mean, you wonder, did that have any you think maybe did that have anything to do with Io cashing in? I mean, it's definitely something to think about here. So, but nonetheless, though, whether it's a work injury or a legitimate injury, congratulations to Io Sky. It's well deserved. This was 4.25, 4.5. Of course, you can't really rate the Money in the Bank match. You can't really rate Money in the Bank matches anyway. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, one of the things we love to talk about, during our chats, full circle moments. And here, if this is not a full circle moment, tell me what is, because we all remember last year at SummerSlam at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Damage Control was born after Bianca Belair had survived Becky Lynch again. 1 year later, they're celebrating with the WWE Women's Championship as Io Sky has brought that very title to Damage Control. And this is without a doubt the biggest win and moment for Damage Control after questionable booking for the last year.
Yeah, this is definitely the biggest win for them. And this is, like you said, a full circle moment, because it was a year ago at SummerSlam when Damage Control was born, when Bayley came out, and then Dakota Kai, and then Io Sky. So, yes, and here we are 1 year later, and now Io Sky is the new WWE Women's Champion. And yeah, when it comes to the match itself, I'm going to give this 4 stars. Yeah, I'm not counting the Money in the Bank cash in, but yeah, the question is, was the injury real, or was it? But either way, they used the cash in as part of it, and yeah, a big win for Io Sky, and I really hope they do give her a really good run with the title. Not over 300 days, but one that could be good enough that I could definitely enjoy. So there's really nothing more to say. It is your Splash.
Yeah, this is wild, man. Whoever would have thought this was going to happen? But, look, at first, in one way, I was a little heartbroken that Asuka lost the belt. To lose it to Bianca Belair, I was a little bit of annoyance about it. I'm so glad the Money in the Bank cash-in came in, because it softened the blow. It did. It softened the blow a little bit from that moment. Obviously, fans did not want to see Charlotte win it. There is a minority amount of fans that didn't want Bianca to win the title. A lot of people was very high on Asuka and thought that she deserved a true reign. But for her to lose it that way, only for the Money in the Bank to come in, for Io to win it, that's even better for us. I think that's more impactful. That's a greater moment. And like you said, history was made. Now the question is, where do they go from here? Well, if you're Io, you got to deal with Bianca. You could deal with Charlotte. You could have Asuka and let them go at it. So there's 3 possible opponents. At some point Bayley's gonna turn and that could be 4. There's a 5th. And you know what? I'm just going to drop it right here, right now. Kairi Sane is coming to WWE, and it's been confirmed. She is coming back this November. Kairi Sane is coming back to WWE. All of the particulars are practically confirmed. It is the done deal. PW Insider reported this, and they confirmed it. All of that needs to be done is Kairi's got a couple of months coming up that she still needs to finish off with Stardom in New Japan, a little bit of a farewell tour. Expect Kairi Sane back in WWE by November, and more importantly, possibly by the Survivor Series, she will make her return to WWE. Kairi versus Io is the plan for November. So there. Now you have it. So nothing more to say. That's the rumor that's going around. So that's all you need to know there. So big announcement, big news, incredible moment. Congratulations to Io for winning the title. And yeah, history made. So it leads us to the main event of the evening for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and to be recognized as the tribal chief. It was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, winner of the bout in 36 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion and the man who gets to be called the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Oh, man. Michael Bullock. Wow. What a main event.
Yeah, what a main event here. I mean, I'm going to give this about maybe 4.5. I mean, I'm going to go 4.5, 4 3/4. I mean, this was an incredible bout. I mean, it was a little bit slow at the beginning, but it did really pick up. So that's why I'm not going to give it the full 5. But if any of you want to give it 5, I wouldn't be upset with it. But the big story out of this one, Jimmy Uso cost his brother the Undisputed Universal title. And the reaction from everybody, including Michael Cole, was just priceless. I don't know about you, Fletch. I mean, you heard Michael Cole said, "Are you freaking kidding me? Jimmy, that's your own brother." I mean, oh my gosh, that was insane. And I think this is, I mean, it looks like Jimmy Uso is back with Roman and Solo. I mean, that's the feeling out of this one. And I mean, everybody was so heartbroken for Jey Uso because of this shocking betrayal by Jimmy. And not only was Michael Cole upset about it, even Corey Graves was upset about it. I mean, Corey Graves is the heel commentator in this, and he even said that he was disgusted by Jimmy's actions. I mean, man, such craziness here. So there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. There's only one thing we got to ask. Why, Jimmy? Why?
It makes no sense. The storyline the whole way through, and for that to be the ending, it absolutely took away from anything. Yes, Roman wins. Okay, we get it. But that match was absolutely, yeah, I don't know, man. I was really, like, if you think about it storyline wise, it don't make any sense. Why would Jimmy turn on Jey when it was Roman and Solo that put him in the hospital, that put him in the ambulance? You know, why would you say that? After basically, is it the jealousy because of the fact that Jay got selected as the right-hand man over Jimmy. I mean, it don't make any sense for what went down. I mean, if you think about it, this was absolutely a uh it was very perplexing. And then on top of that, it looks like Solo might not be as unified with Roman. Remember, Roman speared Solo, and there was a moment where Solo kind of gave daggers at Roman, like, you betrayed me. You actually speared me and took me out when I'm trying to help you. I mean, I think there's more drama than what meets the eye right now. This bloodline storyline has 4 possible movable parts. So it's crazy what's going on, to say the very least. So yes, 4.5 is my rating. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
I put a link in the in our chat here. You want to talk about reactions to what happened at the end there? You got to watch this young man here. This is a young man I follow on here on YouTube. Conman167. He does epic reactions to certain things in wrestling. The minute I saw this young man, there was one reaction video that he did that drew me into him. That was like, oh yeah, I gotta subscribe to this guy because he's freaking awesome. What did it for me, for this young man, was 2 years ago at the AEW All Out pay-per-view when Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson came out at the end of that event. That's another reaction you got to see because he lost his mind and it was hilarious. This, on the other hand, not so much. This guy was so gutted about what happened at the end. You're going to notice he actually cried during this. And he was at a loss for words. And it's not often this young man's at a loss for words, but in this case, he was. So that's why you got to check out this reaction video from Conman167. And you also got to check out that Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole video as well. When you see that and how nuts he went on that, oh, epic. But anyway, serious business here. Main event of the evening, arguably the only one worthy of being called the main event. The undisputed Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso under tribal combat rules, which basically no rules. As expected, both men did a masterful job telling their story. The match itself might not have been groundbreaking, but the way they put everything together and how they sold it is why it worked so well. And that's pretty much all there is to say on that. Jay looked nervous but excited during his entrance. A lot of people seem to think a bunch of members of the Anawahi family were going to be in attendance for this for some odd reason, but they really weren't. Jey Uso really caught Roman Reigns with one of those right hands, and the Samoan drop through the table was a nice spot. 4.5 stars for this. This is the fight of the night, and gentlemen, with the time of the fall that this got, 36 minutes and 5 seconds, gentlemen, this is now the new longest match in SummerSlam history. The previous record was 35 minutes and 15 seconds. Set back in 2010 when Team Nexus and Team WWE had that 7-on-7 Survivor Series style elimination match. And then before that, it was 32 minutes and 20 seconds when Brett and Owen had that legendary 5-star steel cage match in 94. But this match last night, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso Tribal Combat, it's now the longest match in SummerSlam history, 36 minutes and 5 seconds. Great accomplishment. But 4.5 stars. That's all there is for me. So I believe it's overall review time here, MF.
Overall review, 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I think it was a good SummerSlam. It was fine for what it was worth. I kind of feel like there was a little bit of some moments where the life did come out of the building. But the thing is, there was more good than bad. I know there's some people that slammed this, saying that it was an average to mediocre SummerSlam, which is fine. But relatively speaking, I'm going to say this was a solid 7. I know that 411 Mania gave it a 7. I know a lot of the YouTube streamers were giving it a 7. It's a 7. So for me, it's a 7 out of 10. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm not really feeling that, MF. I think you underscored it a little bit. Most of what we saw last night was predictable, but most of the decisions were also logical and the most satisfying outcomes we could have asked for. Every single match on the card, with the exception of the women's match, was enjoyable on some level, but the crowd reactions ebbed and flowed throughout the night. You could tell those in attendance were tired by the halfway point because they had been cheering for everything so hard. The biggest surprise of the night might have been the performance from Ricochet and Logan Paul. We all knew they were going to do some wild stuff, but how they put everything together was great. And I think whoever was the agent or producer for that match deserves a raise. Io Sky's title win was a satisfying moment for her and her fans. LA Knight's victory in the Battle Royale felt earned, and both world title bouts delivered in different ways. All in all, this was a pretty successful show in terms of the quality of each bout. Now WWE just needs to make sure it follows up on everything heading into Payback on September the 2nd in Pittsburgh. So there isn't much for me to add on to this. Slight disagreement with MF. I think this was more of an 8 out of 10 for me. So there isn't much more for me to say except Michael Bullock taking home.
Oh, what did you give it, Florio?
I'm sorry about that, Bullock. 8 out of 10 for me. What do you think?
I'll give it 7.5 to 8. I mean, I thought it was a good show. I mean, yeah, there were some things that were questionable, but all in all, I thought it was a good SummerSlam. So, yeah, there's nothing more to say except Fletch. Let's put a bow on this.
All right. And that is what we're going to do. Tomorrow night is Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio, as we have the fallout from that SummerSlam as we talked about. Major stuff for Monday Night Raw. And then from there, Anthony's got the Tony's take, where I think it's a Level Up and Impact. And
Yes.
then, all right. And then Wednesday is Madness. And then we go from there. So there's really nothing more to say. So, Anthony, thank you. Thank you, Michael Bullock. Thank you, Anthony Florio. Let's have a great night, guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for Ridiculously Raw. So on.